Our WBIR family is mourning the loss of a man who was part of the fabric of this station. Former general manager Jim Hart died Thursday at the age of 83.
He was more than a broadcaster. He was a steward of East Tennessee stories, its people, and its mountains.
UT's basketball season begins tonight, and the game was to be played here at the new...
For Jim Hart, WBIR wasn't just a station. It was home, a place his family helped build from the start. His connection began long before television ever flickered to life in East Tennessee.
I was here when it was built, and I remember when they started broadcasting. Biggest focus was on how the station served the community.
Jim's father, John Hart, was part of the original group that transformed WBIR from radio to television. In 1956, WBIR TV signed on the air with John Hart as its first general manager. Young Jim worked his way through nearly every corner of the building, including behind a studio camera pointed at a teenage Dolly Parton.
I was here in the morning when she came in and sang, and you could tell that something good was going to happen for her at some point in time.
In 1981, Jim became WBIR's general manager. He had an eye for talent. Longtime news director Margie Nichols remembers a phone call.
And he called me on the phone and said, "I'm Jim Hart." And I went, "Who are you?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "I heard you're moving to Knoxville." And I was working in Nashville. I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "You come talk to me before you go talk to anybody else." And I said, "Yes, sir." So he was very determined, and you did what he said.
Though rarely on camera, aside from the thoughtful editorials he delivered after newscasts.
The legislature has started us down the right path, but the job isn't finished.
Jim was deeply involved in the community. He chaired boards and led fundraising campaigns.
When he loved something, he loved it passionately and invested in it passionately.
He also helped launch, with former WBIR marketing director Steve Dean, one of the most beloved storytelling projects in local television, the Heartland Series.
I never worked more longer nights for anybody in my life and loved it more, because you just didn't want to fail him. Because you knew he had your best interest at heart, and this project needed to work.
And Jim Hart helped shape the identity that still defines WBIR today. A simple, powerful promise, straight from the heart.
But it stated what he wanted it to say, and that we from East Tennessee are genuine, authentic people, and we're proud of it.
Jim left WBIR in 1994 to oversee Scripps Broadcast Division. He retired in 2002, but it did not last long. A new calling emerged, Friends of the Smokies. Board member and retired State Supreme Court Justice Gary Wade remembers Jim bringing an episode of the Heartland Series to The Interview. The nonprofit hired him as executive director, and he spent years advocating, fundraising, and telling the story of the Smokies he loved.
And I don't know whether it's a coincidence, but straight from the heart and the Heartland Series, Jim Hart, it sounds just right. But just like he had his fingerprints all over WBIR TV, even today, he will always have that role with Friends of the Smokies.
A quiet leader behind the scenes, Jim Hart leaves a legacy woven into the hearts of this station and all of East Tennessee.
Jim loved WBIR. He loved this community, and he invested deeply in this community. He invested with his heart. And there was nobody more straight from the heart than Jim Hart.
We all echo that. Jim Hart leaves behind his wife, Jan, of nearly 64 years, 3 children, 3 grandchildren, and a sister. And he is so very much missed, and forever I will be grateful for the opportunity to work at the station because of him.
And he connected us all at times when he would come back and shake hands and engage with the newsroom and people who were in engineering. No matter where you were in this building, when he was here, he was shaking your hand, and he was genuine.
A true gentleman.